button has been hit, so in theory I'm live. Let me just see if YouTube at least is agreeing. It's at least claiming.
Button has been hit.
Hey, it is. Alright, cool. Still got about a minute. And I'm trying to remember how last week went, because I know it was last week that I had to do it on Sunday because I forgot Saturday, the previous week Saturday. But I did do it correctly on Saturday, but I was sick, and I would have mentioned that. At least I think I did. Maybe I didn't. I'm feeling much better, though. I was very fortunate, I guess, in that there's still a tail. I'm still feeling a little bit. But the bulk of it, I woke up Sunday. Most of whatever bug I had seemed to be gone, and on Monday was even better. Such that I still have a little bit of a cough. A little bit of congestion that's really just giving me a mild headache. That's really the only annoyance there, so yay. That's nice, I can spend more time talking. Of course, isn't much of an episode to talk about, unfortunately. Yeah. So yeah, what is the episode? It is the time trap, which is basically the Bermuda Triangle. So there's the Delta Triangle, or Delton Triangle. I think they only said Delta Triangle. Which a delta is shaped like a triangle, so that may be why they did that. Sorry. But they are sent to investigate because for centuries, apparently, ships have gone missing there. And it's like, alright, well, we'll go see. And when they are there, they are approached by a Klingon battlecruiser. And it's like, hail them. And immediately the Klingons open fire, because that's what they do. And the Enterprise returns fire, but before the shot even gets there, actually, no, I take it back. It did a hit, and it is described as they can see it bounce off of the deflector, so they know it arrived, and they know that the ship survived. Survived the attack. But then it just vanished, and it's like, well, that was weird. We do that? No, everything looked like the ship was fine. It's like, Start scanning the area. And they discover that, there's too many battle cruisers. This is not good. Basically, it looks like the Klingons were, well, when you think about it, it's a good ploy. It's silly still, but it is a good ploy, which is basically, hey, we'll have one Klingon ship be in the triangle, so that if it is damaged or it disappears because of a Federation ship, we can blame that it disappears on them and then start attacking. We're perfectly justified. At least that's what we're going to tell everyone. And that's exactly what they threatened. Kirk did, however, and this was a bit interesting, tell Uhura when talking with the Klingon commander of the next ship, he did have her broadcast all of it to the nearest Federation starbase. And she makes the comment, and this is what I find so odd, that the nearest one is 3 weeks. Well, it will take 3 weeks for the communication to get to them. And it's like, well, whew, that's very far. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I got nothing. I got no idea why it would be 3 weeks. I mean, if it were 3 days, because then say, okay, you're still alone out here. 3 weeks is like, whoa, what are you even doing out here? You shouldn't even have, like, Federation territory wouldn't even be this far out. But in any case, Kirk is Kirk. So he has told Sulu, because he knows the Klingons are just going to attack them. He tells Sulu, do you know where the Klingon ship that disappeared was? Its exact position? Yeah. Lay in a course for that. Set a course for that. And on my order, hit warp 8 to take us there. Okay, Captain. I guess so. I mean, it's like, Sulu doesn't quite know what the plan is here. When the Klingons do inevitably start attacking, it's a go. And should we start returning fire? You can do anything defensive. I think it was Scotty asking this. And Kirk, because they are hitting our deflector shields. It's like, shouldn't we be trying to defend ourselves? I thought that's what your deflectors were doing. It's an okay line. And it does make sense because Kirk is basically saying that everything is going the way it's supposed to be going right now. Don't worry. The deflectors are completely disabled by the time they reach the spot, and indeed they do encounter the same anomaly that takes them out of normal space. And when they're there, it's like, whoa, look, there's a lot of ships here, and some of, like, even Scotty's like, some of these, I've only seen drawings of them in museums. What is this place? And one thing interesting is they also do spot what they describe as the first Federation ship with a warp drive installed. Because apparently that went missing on its third voyage. What's very interesting about the image that they show there, and I'm afraid I didn't catch the name of it, the name of the ship, is it is clearly shorter, so possibly also just overall smaller than the Enterprise. But its base also kind of reminded me of the Enterprise D, the Galaxy class. Just how, or the Excelsior, because both of those have. Well, actually, no, sorry. I'm confusing the Galaxy class's base a little bit. How that's there. It's more like the Excelsior, in that it had a portion that comes down and then it goes back up to a flat section. Not sure why exactly they would do that. Although maybe the person who designed that also later designed the Excelsior for Star Trek 3, Search for Spock, which I do remember one special feature that I've not seen for a long time, saying that, because it's like, okay, how are we going to do this? What are we going to do here? For a new, basically the second Enterprise, the thing that looks like it could be better. And they came with multiple designs with different inspirations. And for the Excelsior, the inspiration was, if the Japanese designed a starship, what would it look like? And that's the one that won. That the producers or whoever was decided, yep, that's what we want. It's like, okay, so technically the Excelsior is a Japanese ship. When was that? Okay. 84? I'm just trying to think. Would that... Yeah, that would actually make sense for consideration of the Japanese in that way, because that... RoboCop is, what, 84? Sorry, 89, 90? Hang on, it's right here. I promise. I will tie this in. Oh, 87. Perfect. Part of the inspiration for RoboCop, and I think to a lesser degree Alien, I'm not sure about Blade Runner, but all three of those, it's been a long time since I've seen Blade Runner, I should acknowledge this, but definitely with RoboCop, was the concern of so-called hyper-capitalism. And that's, you see that in RoboCop with the whole OCP, a private entity, a private company, purchasing the police department, which should be and always be a public entity. That was a concern there. And it was actually born of things like, I'm not sure if the Empire State Building, but like the Sears Tower in Chicago being bought, and a lot of skyscrapers being bought by the Japanese. Because they were experiencing an economic boom. I think it was also helped by the fact that they didn't really have a military and no military expenditures, because they kind of had this little thing so many decades earlier called World War II. They were kind of told, no, you can't have a military anymore. You do bad things when you have that. So I think that partly helped that helped them achieve their economic boom. But in any case, America was certainly very aware of the Japanese at the time because of stuff like that. Though at least with the whole Excelsior being a Japanese design, that would have just that would not have been a negative thing. And even then, with RoboCop, that was not a negative portrayal towards the Japanese. It's just a negative portrayal, a satirical portrayal of that concern of everything is for sale, including things that really shouldn't be. Anyway, but with Alien, and I think technically Alien's more so, the whole idea that Weyland-Yutani does not care about the people. That is also, I'm pretty sure, born of that fear of hypercapitalism, that everything could be purchased, nothing, and the company decided who has value and who doesn't. And this would predate a lot of that, but sorry, didn't feel that one coming in time. In Rollerball, there's a mention there. I can go to just about any movie, it seems. The mention of the corporate wars, which was something that's not really explained in the movie. I know it's based on a book that I've not read. I don't even know if I can get a copy. But the idea being that corporations have taken over the planet, each with their own zone geographically, but also their own, like, this one does power, that one does agriculture, things like that. So their own economic zones as well. And there's a mention of the corporate wars, but it gets kind of funny because there is a subplot that's never really fully explored, but the suggestion is they never happened. No, legitimately, it is, because there's such a consolidation of... Man, Rollerball is such a good movie. I really, really love that movie. I'm so glad that... Finding it on Blu-ray was a little difficult. The 4K seems more available. And I think also the regular Blu-ray has... I think there's been another printing of it since. But anyway, there's a consolidation of information where it's like all libraries are just being destroyed and put onto computers. It just occurred to me, in one way, what's going on there is happening now. The way it's happening now is it's consolidating the information. In that instead of having... Well, I mean, it's still here. Instead of having the full... I'm still working through it. I'm much closer to the end. But still working through this. The written review of this. But basically, what's described in Rollerball is instead of having the whole of this stored in there, the whole of a book stored in there, they would just copy it and destroy the book, but then they'd summarize the book and just give it to the computer then, so when somebody asks, it references the summary. That's kind of what some AI is doing, or at least the poor use for AI of, instead of doing the research yourself, you are just asking it a question, whatever it answers is what you're accepting, even though they can be making it up. But it is, in a way, would be kind of like that. Where if you just had an AI, and they do in fact have, I don't remember the name. No, it's Zero. The name of the AI is Zero in Rollerball. That is basically supposed to have all the information in its database. And if it doesn't have it, it starts weirding out. But it is kind of funny that is presented there, and it is exactly presented as they're controlling the information such that you don't know what to believe anymore. And even some people can't trust their memories. But there was also I think it was the 14th century, like every piece of information on the 14th century was just lost. And it's like, yeah, and there's no way to get it back because it's all been destroyed. And it's just one of those, damn, we really are approaching that, aren't we? Well, that capacity where we don't have encyclopedias anymore, essentially, at least not written. Well, no, I think you can still get some of them, but there aren't that many. And even then, I can believe that some of them are being rewritten to provide certain information in certain ways, shall we say. But so much is going to locations, repositories that are not necessarily trustworthy for multiple reasons, are going to be censored and curated. And we have seen this happen. But now we're getting to that third stage of it being AI that manages the data, at least as far as presenting it to the user. So now there's another layer of curation and censorship being applied, but it's being added in there is random error and hallucination. Ah, shit. That is legitimately kind of scary. I I hadn't realized that. Huh. Oh well. I'm not too concerned about that about the rollerball concept actually happening, because there are still people that they value physical media, including books, value memory, value textbooks. Um, there is a mocking attitude towards a lot of AI. It will get better and earn its trust, kind of like Wikipedia. I mean, I'm old enough. I remember when being told in school, no, you cannot use Wikipedia as a source because anyone could edit it. Which, I mean, yeah, but that then became okay, you can use Wikipedia because anyone can edit it, including experts. Not exactly true. I actually through somebody else know a guy. I've met him once or twice, who wanted to correct statements on the Wikipedia page for him. Wikipedia told him no, because you need to be able to cite like a printed source. And it's like, will my ID work? No, it won't. It's, yeah. So Wikipedia is shouldn't be that relied upon. Other sources are certainly better. And it's like some of the nonfiction I go to, there's a lot of false narratives that are taught to you. And so you also see then things being either innocently written in support of the narrative, because that's the only thing people know, or so that's how they have to interpret things, or it is, no, we are pushing that narrative intentionally, knowing. And for an example of that, before I come back to Star Trek, which is what I'm supposed to be doing here, think about like reading old. Actually, no, that'll work. Because I have seen some stuff talking about that not too long ago, and it is a good example. There are multiple words used to identify God in the original language Bibles. Whether that's in Hebrew or Greek, there'd be multiple. In some cases, Elohim is used. In other cases, Yahweh is used. You may see in an English translation, though, both are written as God. But they are different. And there is a special significance to Yahweh that Elohim does not have. So that is kind of shifting the narrative a little bit. And I can also see that potentially Jesus is also like that, because the actual root name for Jesus, that is what he would have been called, is Yeshua. Yeshua developed, yes, into Jesus through transliteration and all that, but also developed into Joshua. So you would actually have multiple people all named Yeshua in the Bible, but in most English translations, I believe they do. No, there's one dude named Jesus. It's only this dude. Everyone else we put in Joshua. So yeah, imagine that kind of thing for controlling the narrative, where it isn't just, and people, like, they could instantly not realize that Yahweh and Elohim are used differently, do have different significance there, and that Jesus and Joshua are technically, would be the original word, same name if you read in the original language. But imagine that happening with an intent to confuse people and to hide information. Yeah, that's... I could definitely see that happening with AI, and also just in general, human editing. Wow, yeah. And we are approaching that, especially because, was it this week or last week, that Google basically decided that all of their searches would now be based on AI results, as opposed to using their older, the spider system that would go out and actually read all the different sites, and also then judge based on traffic which to promote when, well, if it isn't paid for, which to promote based on traffic when you do a search. That it's not going to be AI based, which means then that all that work for search engine optimization is meaningless. That people used to have to be trained how to do. Meaningless now because it's the AI making those decisions. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah. Hell of a time. Let's get back to that. So, the Enterprise is in this pocket universe. It is described as pocket dimension, where time flows differently. They're there. And, okay, what does this mean? What does that result in? They see all these ships that are ancient in some cases, and it's like, or at least centuries old, and it's like, this is wild. And they start wondering about, might there be any people still alive on these ships? It's like, you think that's possible? I mean, they're centuries old. That gets explained. But is, like, they're picking up energy readings, but then they also see the Klingon cruiser is there, still has power, and turns and fires on them. Because, like, hey, it's a Federation ship. Obviously, we're going to attack it. But not only that, its deflectors are down because they had been disabled when the Enterprise was being attacked by the 2 other Klingon ships, and then it arrived here. It's like, cool, let's do that. Shots fired, and it blinks out along the way, and the Enterprise is like, huh, weird, fire. Because we just got fired upon, we gotta respond. And same thing happens. It's like, huh, that's odd. Spock, start trying to... So, what ended up happening is there's a council of species there who, they are the survivors of these various ships. Basically, they formed a civilization out of necessity, and have now beamed both Kirk and, it was Kor, Captain Kor of the Klingon cruiser. This is the same Kor that we see in the original series, and then later in Deep Space Nine. At least that's who the character is supposed to be. It is not, Kokos? Hang on. I got the trivia page open. Where is it? I want to make sure. Yes, John Kokos. I'm pretty sure is how I pronounce it. But anyway, he's not voicing, which is disappointing. But, that man, he did a good job with Kor. Kor is definitely one of the neatest of the Klingons. And his end that he gets in Deep Space Nine, that's really good. I'm probably not going to continue doing these into TNG and Deep Space Nine, but man, that is a good episode. And that would be fun to talk about. But coming back to this, they've been beamed over to the console chambers, where you see a number of representatives of different species: human, Vulcan, Romulan, Tellarite, Andorian, Klingon. Some we don't know. There is the vegetable species that we saw in the Infinite Vulcan, however long ago. One of them is there. And they basically start laying down the law. Oh, there's also an Orion, who's like the main spokesperson for them. Spokeswoman. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things where it's like, so let me get this straight. You all have been trapped here for centuries. Time flows differently, though, so they are all the original survivors, such that they are centuries old, but it's okay. As opposed to them, like, having to, on their ships, procreate, and this is so many generations later. But anyway, it's like, this is your situation. You are free. You are on the council here, but you're still going around in a bikini. I guess that's just what Orion women do. I'm not complaining. I'm not criticizing. I'm just asking the question. Is that what they actually do? Hey, if that's just their culture, okay. Their culture. But you'd think, at least a robe or something to help keep warm? Anyway, so it is explained to them that, yeah, we got the civilization now, and we have these rules where basically peace is paramount. You do anything to violate that peace, commit any acts of violence, we're punishing you. And by punishing you, we mean it doesn't matter if it's committed by one of your crew. We are punishing you. You are their captains. And also, that punishment will involve, we freeze your ship for a century. You will survive that length of time. Don't worry about that. That's what we will do. It is also mentioned that they do have telepathic users there. People who can use telepathy that are on the council, so they can, in fact, monitor what's happening on these ships, and just monitor them in general. This becomes important later. So it's like, All right. We'll do what we can. We'll try to obey. Yeah, sure. They go back, and it's like, okay, we got to get out of here. I mean, it's a natural. We got to do everything we can to get out of here. Um, and the council is aware of their interest in getting home. And like, should we stop them? Nope. Everyone has to. They call the area, by the way, Elysium. And on the one hand, I do understand why, but that doesn't mean I like it. And in a way, this is actually one thing that does work against the episode, in my opinion. This whole, yeah, we will. I get the whole giving up, as they have, as the members, the citizens of Elysium have, because why would they? Why would they continue to try to get home when, to their knowledge, there is no way home? It is better to just give up and stay here and focus on here, because obviously, as said, Kirk, no, he wants to get home. And they managed to come up with a plan. It might not work, but hey, they're going to try. And they even offer to the Orion woman, because she does an Orion dance, and Kirk says you did it very well. And it's like, you've seen it? Yes, many times. Oh, I wish I could see Orion again. It's like, I mean, we're trying to get out of here. If you want to come along, we can take passengers. It's like, no, I cannot. And I get it as far as the whole, she's given up. She can't try then because she's given up. This is where she is staying. This is her new home, essentially. But Kirk is like, this isn't home. We're going home. Prior to that moment, they're working. By the way, they have 4 days left of power. Something is up with the dilithium crystals. And at the moment, the crystals are being treated as though they are an actual power source, like a battery. Whereas I'm pretty sure in TNG and on, and also maybe in episode 2 of the original series, dilithium crystals are treated more as a way that the power is managed or purified. So it is more like a catalyst than a battery. But that's not the case here. But a little bit irrelevant, that. So, yeah, they're trying to come up with ideas, and it's like, Spock is, I got nothing. I don't know. But then they see that the Klingon ship, they're going to try. They're going to try to escape. And Spock's like, they're not going to do it. They're going to fail. And Kirk's like, are they just trying to bluff their way out? Well, yeah, they try, and it does fail. But Spock seeing this is like, I have an idea. So he then heads back and comes up with a formula where it's like, this can work. But in order to do it, we're going to need to work with the Klingons. And they are, what the plan actually involves is they connect the two. They connect the two ships. Not just physically, but also through their computers to make sure that everything aligns properly, because that's what it will take to get out. They have to hit warp 8 to do this as well, and it's very involved. So they go to the Klingon ship and are like, this is the plan. And the Klingons are like, all right, cool, we can do that because we want to get out of here. And then Spock comes up behind the two of them at the table and is like, man, I just really got to say, it is awesome that you guys are going to work with us. Because, we're normally enemies, and you're just like, we'll work with you. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. Good job, guys. And it's like, after he leaves, the Klingon's like, I guess it's true, he's half human. Wow. That was a thing. So they're, whatever. Kirk saw this, but makes no mention of it. I see this, I'm just thinking, yeah, he's been impacted by the, well, no, not that he's been impacted, but that, yeah, he knows something, that they're doing something. He suspects the Klingons of something. He's testing it. I'm thinking he's like, planting something on them. No. No, later on, because there are now some Klingons on board the Enterprise helping with this, and one of them, well, there were two, potentially both of them, were at the dilithium closet, so where they keep the spare crystals. Because even though security is supposed to be there, the security guards were late getting there for their shift, which, by the way, is really stupid because you shouldn't be leaving the location until the next shift arrives. But anyway. And it's like, all right, well, you shouldn't have been there, so we need to punish you. But Spock comes up and again is like, man, it's okay. You wouldn't do anything. It was clearly an accident here. I will, where you're supposed to be, I will walk you there. I will be your escort, that we are good. And at this point, Bones is like, Jim? Is something wrong with Spock? Because he's never been a pal before. It's like, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. Indeed, he does talk to Spock, and Spock doesn't really answer in a way to suggest that he is being impacted. But that is basically the question. He says that, no, actually, when I have physical contact, I'm able to, get a sense of their brains, because when I did that on their ship, oh yeah, I knew they were planning to betray us. Absolutely, they're going to do that. I don't know what the plan is, though. Touch that guy. He's aware that something's going on, but he has no idea what. He's not involved with this. Like, all right, so we definitely need to be paying attention to this then. All right, so what are we gonna do? Well, we have to, they have to just move forward. We then have the party, which this was where I mentioned it earlier with the Orion slave woman. Well, she wouldn't at this point be a slave woman, but the Orion woman doing the dance, that whole conversation. And at that time, a Klingon starts a fight with Bones, including pulling a phaser, well, technically a disruptor, but anyway, pulling a weapon on him and firing, and the Council immediately shuts that down. Then it's a Kirk and Core, come here, we need to talk. Because it's like, okay, we need to punish you because that was violence, and we told you, no violence. All that, but the distraction of the fight allowed another Klingon to hide in a capsule, an explosive, in a compartment on the ship. It was at the computer for the warp drive, I believe they said. It's like, okay, so that's not good, because now the explosive there, and they don't know about it. The Enterprise crew don't know about it. But yeah, so they're before the Council, and then the question is, okay, well, you know what our laws are, so we need to punish you. So Core, prepare to have your ship frozen. And Kirk steps up and is like, we need them? It's like, what do you mean? Well, we're trying to escape, but we can only do that with them, so we need them. We need you to not do this to them. Because we're going to be trying tomorrow. We don't have sufficient time to wait for that. It's like, you sure? I mean, he did just try to, one of his people did just try to kill one of yours. It's like, yeah, I'm sure. It wasn't very full-throated, might say. It kind of reminded me of, in the previous episode, the Megas 2, the Kirk standing up for Lucian. Kind of reminded me of that, where it still was like there wasn't much strength behind it. But it's like, yeah, we need them, so no, we really don't want you to punish them. Can you not do that? It's like, all right, we'll release them into your custody, because you can try. We'll let you try. And the Council was debating, should we prevent them from trying? It's like, nope, nothing in our laws say they can't do that. Well, what if we, but, it could cause them to die. It's like, if they try, it's like, nope, we still have to allow them to try. All right, let them go through with it. So that all is happening. Sorry, my brain is still a little scattered. Not more than usual. So now they got to try. It's the next day that they're going to try to go for it. And they don't know about the bomb yet. But the Klingon plan is basically, once they hit Warp 8, the explosive will be armed, and on its timer, that will be 3 minutes. Because that should be enough time after hitting warp 8 for them to escape and then like separate enough from the Enterprise so that they aren't caught in the explosion. So as they start going, the council is still paying attention, and the one telepathy user is like, oh no, there's an explosive on board. It's like, let's warn them. So they hail the Enterprise, and Kirk's like, oh, okay, put them on audio. We doing things here. And they come over and are saying that, hey, why don't you let you know there's an explosive on board, it's in this location, it's going to go off, and it's going to be triggered by this, it's going to go off, and this. It's like, all the details there. It's like, all right, so Spock and I think it was Spock and Scotty run there, find the explosive, throw it into a chute that will then eject it out of the ship. Then finally the two ships escape. The Klingon ship disconnects and floats away. And then looking back, they see this massive explosion. It's like, yes, we got the Enterprise. And it's actually still right there. The explosion went off between them, and so it's well. Hail Kronos. Tell them that it was by our efforts and our efforts alone. We were the ones who figured out how to get out of that. We are great and awesome, and the Enterprise is full of poo-poo heads. Essentially, because Uhura was like, hey, I just got their communication back to their homeworld saying that, it's because of them. And Kirk's like, yeah, that's okay. Are you sure, Captain? It's like, yeah, we're home. That's what matters. I didn't care for this episode. I'll be honest. I thought about it some. I was tempted for a little bit to give it a weak recommendation, but then it's like, no, this is, it's a 0. It's a straight fail to recommend. Because I just don't care. It's the whole Elysium, not, the people there not really caring one way or another if they escape or not. And I get it. They've been there for a long time. This is their home, but it's still, even giving up the longing for it, it seems. That's disappointing. I also don't care much for the whole, oh yeah, we're just centuries old, as opposed to being no, we've been working together to figure out how we can survive, include for multiple generations. That just seemed odd. That it wasn't yeah, I mean, I'm 3rd generation, he's 2nd generation, that one's 4th generation. That dude over there, he is still one of the original survivors of his ship, because they only came through a century ago, and it's a Vulcan. I was like, nothing like that. You could do that. There's nothing wrong with that, but they didn't. Maybe it was a way to avoid any issue of resources. And hang on. You know what just occurred to me? Okay, good. I have the audio going through OBS for processing and then to Rumble. And I just muted in OBS instead of in Rumble. It occurred to me, I need to make sure it's on the OBS device, not like directly off the microphone. Fortunately, was through OBS, the mute should have worked. At least I hope it did. Sorry if it didn't. But yeah, I just, there are ways the story could have been interesting, but it really wasn't. You could have had Elysium be more developed, be more interested in getting home, more history there. You could have more explanation to they have to be peaceful. But it's like if you had some of the ships be partially destroyed, and it's like, look, we don't have enough resources here to fight. We have to work together. There cannot be violence, because if there starts to be some violence, we're all dead. So basically, we all live or we all die. It's like, you could do things like that. But they didn't. Obviously, the Klingons are going to betray them. Obviously, Spock is doing something to be aware, to keep aware of this, keep ahead of them. It's not just he's being a pal. There is a reason. And then, in the end, it would be they find it. They come up with some way to find the explosiveness instead of just being hello? Just want to let you know that, our telepathy person found out that, that there's a bomb on board. It's in this location, so you just go right there. This is a situation this time. That's what the solution was. It's just like, hey, here's the whole plan. Some of it might be because it should be a larger story than a half-hour show. But it's still, there's things you could do. I mean, it's like even just the... That time I'm muted on Rumble. But yeah, I mean, there's things you could do. You to try to control that, to try to avoid those issues. But it's not what they did. And that annoys me. It annoys me. That it's like they didn't even try. To like do the generations there to come up with a better way to discover the bomb. I mean, it's like, yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. So, end of the day, yeah, because I don't feel strongly one way or another. Straight fail to recommend. If I actually had enjoyed it, then yeah, it would have only been a weak recommendation. But I didn't even really enjoy it that much. It was too by the numbers, I guess, in the worst sense of by the numbers. And by that I mean, there's no meaning to any of it. It's like, oh well, yeah, this is the next thing. This is the next thing. This is the next thing. Not so this leads to this, and this is why that matters. This leads to this, and this is why this is important. None of that. Just say this, then this, and this. You know exactly what's going on if you just pay attention. Yeah. Oh well. What's next week's? The slaver weapon. Really? I gotta check this a little bit. Come on. Okay, no, that is the name of the episode. Spock, Uhura, and Sulu discover an ancient multi-use weapon and are captured by the Zinti, who are equally interested in it. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, so just to be aware, just to let you know, we do have like the slaver weapon. We also have, yeah, the final episode of season 1 is the Jihad. I don't think there are any others that are like, just by the name, it's like, what are we doing here? But I mean, hey, different time. You could actually, use some of these words without triggering people, without annoying people. Well, fewer people. Because there still would have been some, but it's not like today where to acknowledge the existence of a word means that you have to be canceled. It wasn't quite like that back then. Today, definitely. Because, the internet has amplified that. Because it means that everyone can say things to many people who happen to be like-minded and will keep talking, will speak loudly, be that squeaky wheel, even though they are not the majority. They're just loud. And speak loudly in their echo chambers. This applies to all people in all locations. Anyway. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Not everyone resides in an echo chamber. Oh, Jesus, this was a while ago. I'll mention it anyway. Just somebody that I haven't talked to for a while. Who, just to show the kind of cognitive dissonance, at least I recognize it as that. Because they were lamenting the fact, well, two things that they said. The second thing, just chronologically, second thing, they were lamenting the fact that it is hard for people not in their field, but of similar academic backgrounds. I really don't want to say things that would identify this person. It would be like just some other people at this achievement level, but in different fields, that lamenting the fact that it's hard to get them to communicate. And it's like, yeah, and it is kind of a problem because it's like sometimes mixing the fields, that's how you get the best answers, the best solutions. But it is hard to get them to connect. This is a well-known thing. But so they say that. But also this is somebody who earlier was talking about how, yeah, I refuse to be on Twitter now because it's like Elon Musk bought in, he's a Nazi and all that and all this so horrible. And I'm just thinking, and it's like now on Blue Sky, I'm just thinking, okay, especially in light of the second thing, it's like, okay, so you're saying you intentionally went into an echo chamber where people will think like you, but you're lamenting the fact that you're not able to as well connect with people who don't think like you. Or at least have different training than you do, a different field than you do. So it's like, and I'm just like, I don't care. If you're annoying, I'll just ignore you. If you're not annoying, I will listen. But listening doesn't mean I'm going to go, you're right. It might just be you're wrong, but you're funny, you're entertaining. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm at that. I'm not. I'm just saying that, sadly we do have people that lament the echo chamber, but refuse to recognize that they are choosing to be in an echo chamber. So, yeah. Anyway. Anything else I can... It is a little funny with that, going back to what I was talking about earlier with the AI and such, because that's also part of it. That all ties in together, because an AI is like, it can be the result of, comes out of echo chambers to a degree, in that it's a group of people working on that AI, and they're building things in there. They're building in structures in it specifically to produce certain outcomes. And you have seen this, like with when Google put out Gemini, and the whole people were asking it to do things, like draw me an image of this, like draw me, give me images of Vikings, and like all of them would be black. And it's like, do you not understand that the Nordic people are fair-skinned, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed? And Gemini just could not depict them accurately because it was written to do that, because it was the product of an echo chamber. Now Google did do some stuff to change that later. I think they also just shut down the image generation for a while. But it's just like, AI is coming out of these echo chambers. It is a result of these echo chambers as well, which that's going to be kind of a problem, especially if they also have that mindset of, it's like, yes, we're going to choose to be in the echo chamber, but we need to not be within the echo chamber with that cognitive dissonance. It's like, AI is going to be born of that, but have no ability to be aware that that's their situation, no ability to recognize the doublethink, because they don't have awareness. They don't have contextual knowledge. They may realize, oh yes, you caught me in an error. Thank you for that. But that'll be it. But there's no ability for it to make a correction there. And some people, you do that, and it's the same thing, where they're not paying attention. That they're attached to their ideas so strongly that they doesn't matter if you present them with facts. It doesn't even matter if they recognize that those are facts that are counter to what their beliefs are. They will stay with their beliefs. Interesting times. All right. See you next week.